You know what I mean? There you go. No, I'm saying boom. So then when you extend it, boom. This is protecting you. This is right here. You know what I mean? Cause look, if I throw a hook, no, I'm saying, if I'm here, boom, and you throw a hook, I'm just gonna turn. I'm just gonna turn around and show you. When you keep on.
I feel I got the speed over Canelo. I got the reach over him. He might got the size, the power. I got the better skills, boxing skills.
Would it be more of a cat and mouse?
Terence Crawford recently broke down Canelo Alvarez's fighting style in depth and shared how he plans to beat him on. September 13th, meanwhile, Caleb Plant mentioned that he expects the showdown between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford to be exciting and packed with continuous action. He pointed out that the number of punches thrown will likely be much higher compared to Canelo's fight with John Ryder, which he felt was slow and too predictable. Plant explained that Ryder's cautious approach and low activity level led to a reserved match, which did not surprise him. He remembered that. Canelo has said before that he does not enjoy fighting opponents who avoid exchanges. On the other hand, Plant believes the fight with Crawford will be completely different because of their different styles. Crawford is recognized for his quickness and high-volume punching, and Plant believes this will make the upcoming fight far more entertaining.
I think it's going to be a good fight. Yeah, I think it's going to be an exciting fight. I think there's going to definitely be some back and forth and a lot more punches thrown than the Skull fight. I kind of honestly was expecting that with the Skull fight. Yeah. I heard Canelo say in an interview before he don't like to fight certain fighters because you heard him say that.
Yeah, he doesn't like fighting fighters like Skull because they don't throw punches. That's all they do, yeah.
And knowing how Skull fights and being a Cuban, and I felt like I had seen that coming from all the way out and didn't really expect it to be I thought he was either going to wind up catching him and stopping him or it's going to wind up being how it went. So, but that's a stylistic matchup, you know, and it's going to be a completely different stylistic matchup between him and Bud. And I think it's going to make for an exciting fight.
When asked whether Canelo should be considered the favorite, Plant said it is understandable that many would side with him, since he is naturally the bigger fighter, and Crawford is moving up in weight. However, he pointed out that people often focus too much on size, and that betting odds do not always accurately predict the outcome of a fight. He reminded everyone that he himself was once labeled an underdog, yet still managed to capture a world title, although he did not make a prediction. Plant mentioned he is genuinely looking forward to the fight as a fan and believes it has the potential to be a high-level contest that could turn into something truly memorable.
Regardless of however the fight itself plays out, I feel like the betting, you know, the betting people will probably have Canelo as a favorite simply because, you know, Terence is moving up a couple weight classes, and people will say, "Oh, there's weight classes for a reason," and this and that. So it doesn't matter what the betting odds say, though. You know what I'm saying? I've been the underdog a couple times. Jose Uzcategui, I was the underdog. That's how I became world champion. So odds only mean so much. You know, once the bell rings, the fighters get to figure it out.
Do you think Canelo wins? Or do you think Terence wins? This is my last one.
Can't say. Can't say, don't know. I'm just, as a fan, excited to see the fight. And from the boxing knowledge that I have, which I feel like is decent, I think it's going to be a real good fight. I'm excited for it.
According to Showbiz, the adult Terence Crawford has gotten used to walking his opponents down and depending on his physical abilities because he has usually been more athletic or dominant than those he faced. He compared this to what he calls the Paul Williams or Mark Breland effect, where natural ability can create bad habits. Crawford often fights with a high guard, deflecting punches and looking to counter, while taking shots on his arms and shoulders. Show warned that this tactic might not work as well against a real 168-pound fighter like Canelo Alvarez. His punches will carry more power. He also pointed out that Crawford has not often proven he can fight going backward and still come out on top without taking damage.
Terence Crawford has been getting hit flush repeatedly forever. But he has what I like to call the Paul Williams disease or the Mark Breland disease, where you've been too athletically gifted or too big for your eye. So you have built this bad habit of saying, now I'm gonna walk you down and whip your ass. Nobody has really been able to hurt Crawford. What Crawford does to walk you down and whip your ass is putting his guard up, very similar to Canelo. Or he'll do this, and he would block with that hand, he'll parry, and he'll hit. because he's just too physical. He will end up being like, bam, bam, catch your punches to throw his, and he'll walk you down. And my problem with that is you're dealing with a 168-pound Canelo who's going to hit your arms, hit your shoulders. It's going to feel different. I've never known Crawford to box off his back foot, swim without getting wet, and just outpoint you. That's not him.
Of course, Stevenson also shared his thoughts, saying he believes Terence "Bud" Crawford will come out on top against Canelo Alvarez. He acknowledged Canelo's experience and achievements, but said Crawford has the skill set and adaptability needed to win. When the topic of weight came up, Shocker downplayed its importance, saying it is often exaggerated. He explained that unlike naturally bigger fighters such as David Benavidez, Canelo does not have a major size edge over Crawford's Shocker. Also recalled a conversation with Bozienis, where they both agreed that if Canelo loses focus or takes Crawford lightly, there is a serious possibility that Crawford could get a stoppage victory.
I think Bud gonna cook Canelo. I think he's gonna cook him. I think, Canelo a hell of a fighter, but I think Bud just got all the tools to beat him.
You don't think the weight difference is gonna be too big of an advantage?
I think y'all make that something, in certain fights,
Boxing makes it something, not us.
like if this was like a Benavidez, he's actually a lot bigger than Bud, so that would like apply. But I feel like with Canelo, he's like physically kind of big, but like height wise, he's kind of small. So I don't think so. No.
Corey, have you got a decision to stoppage? Because Brandman and Boozy think that Bud actually might stop him.
Me and Boozy talked about that. That's crazy. Me and him got on the phone, talked about it, but I think that's possible. Like, I'm not saying that it's going to happen, but I think it's a possibility if Canelo gets to acting out of line and not understanding that Bud could crack too.
However, Terence Crawford stated that he expects Canelo Alvarez to come into their fight combining his boxing skills with steady pressure, using his size to try and break him down. Although Crawford admitted that Canelo is the naturally larger fighter, he made it clear that he is completely prepared for any strategy Canelo might use and is ready to handle all possible situations.
I'm expecting Canelo to be Canelo. He's the bigger man. I expect him to, box a little bit, but I also expect him, to try to walk me down and be the bigger man. So, we expect everything in there. No, it definitely don't matter. The odds can't fight for him, so it is what it is.
Crawford also encouraged fans to tune in on September 13th, calling it a clash between two of the best in the sport. He described it as a battle with high stakes where one fighter is aiming to keep his spot at the top and the other is determined to take it with so much at risk for both. Crawford said this fight is set to be something truly unforgettable.
Because it's going to be a spectacular fight. You got two great fighters, going head to head, and trying to dethrone. You got one fighter trying to dethrone the other one, and you got the other one trying to, stay at the top. So, it's going to be a great fight. Both of us got a lot to lose, but a lot to gain. So, I think that's why everybody should tune in, because it's going to be a hell of a...
Rally Romero shared that he truly hopes Terence Crawford delivers a dominant performance against Canelo Alvarez. He repeated this view several times, showing clear emotion behind his words. When asked why he felt this way, Romero referred to something Canelo did in a recent fight, which he saw as highly disrespectful to the sport. Although he acknowledged the difficulty of fighting someone in a higher weight class, Romero explained that his support for Crawford comes from both personal reasons and his frustration with what he described as a serious offense to boxing by Canelo.
I hope Crawford beats the shit out of him.
Really? Yeah?
Now, I'll tell you like this, the weight division things, but I hope Crawford beats the shit out of him.
Why do you want to see Crawford beat the ish out of Canelo?
I just hope Crawford beats the shit out of him.
Why? Canelo, is it because of the last fight? Like you haven't been a fan of Canelo, or why? You like Crawford that much? Took your cup.
What Canelo did on that day was disrespectful to boxing. It was just simply disrespectful to boxing.
In another discussion, Romero said he does not see Canelo versus Crawford as a truly major event. Although he gave credit to Canelo's skills and accomplishments, He argued that a matchup with David Benavidez would carry more meaning. In Impact, he criticized the idea that putting a much smaller fighter like Crawford against a bigger opponent automatically makes the fight important. In Romero's view, a real blockbuster either features top-level fighters from the same weight class or pairs two big-name stars who can give fans a thrilling experience.
I don't think Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia 2 is a big fight.
I was going to ask you about that.
I don't think that's a big fight. I don't think Canelo Crawford's a big fight.
No?
I think Canelo Benavidez is a big fight.
I think that's huge.
I don't think a dude moving up 3 weight divisions to go fight a dude that's twice his size, I know he looked bigger than him the other day, but I mean, obviously, regardless, I don't think that's not making a big fight.
What is making a big fight? Like, how do you make a big fight?
You take the best person in one weight division, you put another person in the weight division, make a big fight, or you get 2 stars that are entertaining as hell and you make a big fight like that.
Romero remains convinced that size will be the deciding factor if Crawford and Canelo face off. He was blunt, calling anyone who thinks Crawford can win completely foolish. Romero emphasized that weight classes exist for a reason, and pointed out that although Canelo is the bigger fighter, he is also very skilled in Romero's view. This fight is not about skill or experience, but purely about physical strength. Because of this, he does not believe Crawford has a realistic chance to come out victorious.
We got Canelo, we got Terence Crawford. That's going to happen in the fall. It's going to happen here in Sin City, your hometown. How do you feel about that matchup?
Anyone that thinks Crawford has a chance is a complete idiot. They have weight classes for a reason.
Too big? Too skilled?
Way too big, way too skilled. And this isn't a skill matchup. It has nothing to do with skill. It has to do with...
Joel Diaz made it clear that he does not believe Terence Crawford has a realistic chance of defeating Canelo Alvarez. Even though he called Crawford his favorite fighter and the best pound-for-pound boxer, Diaz emphasized that moving up from 147 to 168 pounds is a huge jump. He noted that Crawford might do well in the early rounds, but eventually the size and power difference will be too much. Diaz also mentioned that Canelo has taken clean punches from heavy hitters like Gennady Golovkin without serious problems, and if Canelo lands clean shots on Crawford, the damage could be significant.
There is no way that Terence Crawford, being to me my favorite fighter, the best fighter pound for pound, can beat Canelo. A 147 pounder moving up to 68, he can only maybe go 2-3 rounds, and then Canelo hits him and he hurts him. Canelo's being hit by Triple G, the hardest hitter in the division, and never hurt him. But Canelo will hit Crawford and he hurt him.
Diaz compared the fight to Demetrius Andrade's bout with David Benavidez, where Andrade started strong but faded quickly once the physical difference became obvious. He believes Crawford would face a similar fate regardless of his skill level. Diaz also said the matchup feels more like a business move than a true competitive fight, with Crawford going after a big payday instead of competing on even ground.
You remember the fight Benavidez and Demetrius Andrade? Yes. Demetrius Andrade was a great fighter. Nobody wanted to fight him at 54. He moved to 60. Fight 1 or 2. Nobody wanted to fight him at 60. So what did he do? He moved up to 68 because there was nothing for him to fight Benavidez, a big fighter like that. Look what he did in the first early round. Demetrius Andrade was in control. He was doing great. But once that weight starts kicking in, it takes over. There is no way that Crawford can beat Canelo. Turkey Al-Sheikh, it's a big fan of Terence Crawford. He wants to give him a good payday, and simple as that. That's all it is, man.
Teddy Atlas shared great admiration for Terence Crawford, calling him truly outstanding, while he respects Canelo Alvarez as a great boxer. Atlas believes Crawford has a rare gift that sets him apart. He highlighted Crawford's natural talents, including his timing instincts, intense focus, and ability to remain calm under pressure. Atlas explained that Crawford's calmness is more than just being relaxed. It is about sensing and reacting to things others do not.
I just think Crawford's real special. I think Canelo's really good. But I think Crawford is special. I know he hasn't fought the resume everyone wants, but you have that or you don't have that ingredient. I think he has it. I see it. The timing, the instinct, the eyes, the ability to be chilly cold, not just cold and calm, but chilly cold, where you can see things other people don't see and react to it.
Teddy also discussed Crawford's move up to 154 pounds, admitting that although his performance was not perfect, he faced a tough opponent with a difficult style. Pointed out that Crawford was adjusting to a new weight class, which made the fight more challenging. Teddy emphasized that boxing fans often expect flawless performances, but some situations require patience. Despite these challenges, Crawford did what was needed to secure the win. Teddy believes Crawford's greatness comes from his mindset, determination, and personal journey.
I know he didn't have a great performance when he moved up to 154, but he was fighting a good fighter. He was fighting a guy that fought a very difficult style at that moment, and he was fighting at a weight class that was foreign to him, and we had to give him a minute. Nobody wants to give anyone a minute in this business. You're supposed to be great. You got to be great every minute. But I gave him a minute to kind of get his feet settled at a new weight class. And he still did what he had to do to win. But I still see the greatness. The greatness is within Crawford. It's in his desire. It's in his mind. It's in his makeup. It's in his background, where he came.
Greg Hackett said that while he cannot say for sure what Terence "Bud" Crawford cannot do, he does not believe Crawford will be able to knock out Canelo Alvarez. He mentioned that if Crawford thinks he can, that is his decision. Hackett gave a slight advantage to Canelo, noting that moving up to 168 pounds might make Crawford fight more cautiously. He suggested that despite Crawford's speed and power, Canelo's strength at that weight could cause Crawford to be more careful and hesitant with his punches.
I mean, I can't say what a man can't do. You know what I mean? But do I see that happening? Yeah. No, I don't see it happening. But if he believe it, hey, I mean, I want to see.
Who would you favor in that fight? You like Bud by decision?
Slight edge to Canelo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Bud. I'm a fan of Bud. I think Bud is a great fighter, but I just think 68 is gonna make him a little bit hesitant. He gonna feel good. He gonna be strong. He gonna have some good speed, but I think he's just gonna be a little bit hesitant. He won't pull the trigger, right?
Lonnie B expressed skepticism that the fight between Canelo and Crawford will actually take place, suggesting it might be a way to gauge public interest. However, he admitted that if the fight happens, it would likely attract a lot of attention and be very popular. While recognizing Crawford's impressive skills, Lonnie B emphasized how important size is in boxing. He argued that a great big man will usually beat a great smaller man, though a great smaller man can still defeat a good bigger man. In his view, Canelo fits the description of a great big man.
I don't believe that's gonna happen, but if they say it's gonna happen, I guess so. But
why you don't think it's gonna happen?
I just think it's all bluff. I think they're putting the string out there to see if it'll do well, which I think the fight will do extremely well. But I think like Crawford got skills, but I think size matter in boxing. I think a great big man always beats a great small man. You know, but I think a great small man beats a good big man. I think Canelo's a great big man.
Carmel Moten called the upcoming September fight between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford a major event, noting that Crawford is moving up to weight classes to compete for the undisputed super middleweight title. He recognized that smaller fighters often face difficulties when moving up in weight, but believes Crawford truly has a good chance. Moten admitted the jump is challenging, but sees the fight as evenly matched, giving it a 50-50 chance. He said he is unsure who will win and thinks the result will come down to who performs better on fight night. In the end, he said the real winners will be the fans.
It's a big jump for sure, but I feel like Crawford definitely has a great chance. I feel like it's a 50-50 fight. I really don't know who will come out on top of that one. I feel like the better man that night will win. So I feel like the fans are the winners in that.
Lamont Roach expressed respect for both Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford, calling them exceptional athletes. When asked to pick a winner, he found it difficult because he supports both fighters. However, he admitted that punching power concerns him. Roach noted that Canelo hits very hard, and that kind of strength makes him uneasy about how the fight might unfold.
Canelo versus Bud Crawford. I'm kind of have to put you on the spot. Who you like? Who you going with?
I like both. I'm a fan of Canelo. I'm a fan of Terence Crawford. They're both amazing fighters. Canelo's just a huge puncher, bro. It scares me.
Abel Sanchez praised both Crawford and Canelo as smart and skilled fighters, but gave the advantage to Canelo because of his size and defensive skills. He pointed out that Canelo has absorbed heavy punches from strong opponents like Gennady Golovkin, Dmitry Bivol, and Sergey Kovalev without showing weakness, demonstrating his ability to take power. Sanchez also noted that Crawford tends to get hit more often, even at 154 pounds, and argued that no matter how well Crawford performs, or how much weight he gains fighting someone with Canelo's strength and size is a completely different challenge.
First of all, Terence Crawford is a great fighter, but so is Canelo. I think that, in my opinion, their IQ is similar, except Canelo doesn't get hit like Crawford gets hit. In my opinion, Canelo's a bigger man. Not that he started out as a bigger man, but he's now a bigger man. He has been hit by not only Gennady, who's one of the biggest punchers that I've ever coached and I've ever seen, but he's also been hit by Bivol, by Kovalev, who's a big puncher. You know, he's been hit by big guys. Crawford had a hard time with a 154-pounder who hit him often. So I think that no matter how much weight he puts on, no matter how smart he thinks he is or how big he thinks he is, he's going to be getting hit by a truck.
Sanchez also said that Crawford might do well in the early rounds using his speed and timing to take some of those rounds. However, as the fight goes on, he expects Canelo's strength and experience to take over around the 6th or 7th round. Sanchez believes Canelo will find his rhythm, land clean punches, and control the fight, although Canelo may not move his feet much. Sanchez praised his upper body movement, head control, defensive skills, and powerful punches. He predicted that Canelo will either stop Crawford late in the fight or win clearly on the scorecards, and warned that Crawford's team should be ready to step in if the fight becomes too one-sided.
He's not used to that, and I think that at the beginning, just like it was with Kell Brook and Gennady, at the beginning the speed and the talent will show in the fight. I think Canelo will lose 3 or 4 rounds at the beginning, but then once he starts pounding on him, as it's been for the last 6-7 fights of Canelo, after the 6th or 7th round, it's a sparring session for him. You know, he's just throwing bombs away and not caring about what they do to him. But he's got excellent defense. Unfortunately, his feet don't move as well as I would like for him to move them, but his upper body is just unbelievable. He slips punches very well. He's got great hands. He parries very well, and he lands big shots. He may not land as many, but he lands big shots that hurt. So I think Canelo stops him, or wide decision at the end, and corner must think about Crawford's safety.
That wraps up today's video. What do you think about all this? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the content.